Sourav Ganguly that I met in 2003 was very confident, very positive, had a huge vision for what he wanted to see of Indian cricket, and particularly on that tour. It was a tour that he wanted Indian cricket to make a statement, and it was an enjoyable week that we spent together in Sydney in 2003, and I was in Brisbane as a commentator for the first Test match and saw that 100, and it was a huge statement from a captain who was under some pressure. I think there was a feeling that he didn't handle the bouncy wickets very well, that could be intimidated. He came out to bat at a very difficult time for India. Early wickets had fallen. It was a green wicket, probably the sort of wicket that he least liked. And it was an opportunity that was going to, the series could go one way or the other based on that particular day. If India gets through that day well, then the series is set up. Should Sourav fail and India fail, then the pressure was going to get greater and greater. It was one of the great innings that I've seen. It was certainly one of the great captain's innings that I'd seen at that stage.
He goes to 99. He's coming back for the second. He's going to have to hurry. And Ganguly makes it. Jumps in the air. A triumphant punch. Well played, Sourav Ganguly. His first century against Australia. And his 11th of his career. That is a magnificent effort.
If Sourav had real problems with fast short pitch bowling, then I think his Test record would be a lot worse than it is, and he wouldn't have survived in the game for as long as he has. So, batting's not all about having every shot in the book. It's about being able to perfect what you've got. And Sourav, over a long period of time, if he has been uncomfortable with a certain type of bowling, has always found a way to get the job done. As I said, I've always got on very well with Sourav, right from the first time we ever played against each other. There's probably a few other Australian captains that haven't got on as well with him. I think Steve Waugh and him never had the best relationship, but look, I've always got on well with him. We've always been able to share a bit of a laugh and a joke on the field and off the field. And
yes, he's got back to ball, and that
he was so good on the offside that people tend to sort of ignore the number of runs that he scored on the onside. If I have to talk about Sourav's batting, I think it's a special gift. The way he played on the offside, especially, was special. I mean, not many guys could do what Sourav did in his playing days.
In 2003, India toured Australia, led by Sourav. Chin music was set to be the theme for the Indian captain, but Sourav allowed the wood to do the talking. India dominated the series, and Australia just about managed to keep it level. From Australia on to Pakistan, Team India came out triumphant both in tests and one-dayers for the first time.
I think still remember that when I was not scoring, and he come to me and asked me that, what's your problem, can you share with me so I can guide you something, because I was playing international cricket so long, so I can share my experience with you and it will help you to get your confidence back, and maybe you will score runs in couple of next coming games. So I think he is a wonderful human being also.
Indian cricket progressed in leaps and bounds, as the results abroad suggested. The very fabric of Team India was stitched by the three most powerful minds, Sourav, Sachin and Dravid, the big three.
The nice thing for me, the three of us have been around for so long. We've lent a certain stability and, I'd say class to the middle order. And, we've helped achieve some memorable victories for India, both in one-day cricket and in Test cricket in India and abroad. And I think just the whole journey has been something that I've cherished.
We were a very strong team at home, but a very soft team outside. That's what we thought about in 1999, that we want to change the face of Indian cricket. We cannot be just seen as a party who's come onto a tour, a couple of outstanding individual players who would get hundreds. The team would buckle down under pressure, lose and catch the flight home and get on another plane for another tour. And that's the biggest thing in Indian cricket which I see today, is that we've become an equally strong team at home and outside.
Good shot, beats point, that'll go for 4, third man won't get it.
Well, I enjoyed batting with Sourav. Opening the innings with Sourav was fun. Even before the ball was delivered, I could just look at Sourav and I knew exactly what he was planning to play, how he was setting up a bowler. So we both knew each other's game, and that made things interesting. You know, every time after playing a big shot, I would walk up to him and I say, I knew you were setting him up, weren't you? And then similarly, he would come and tell me. So, you know, we had wonderful times. When you got two guys who've been around for a long time and they know each other's game so well, there's bound to be some success there.
Oh, the funniest incident ever was actually with Sourav. It was April Fool's Day and we were playing Pakistan in Cochin. We were playing in Cochin and it was April Fool's Day and and overnight me and Bajji made plans that, you know, April Fool, we're going to go for Sourav. And we drafted a paper, you know, we put like Times of India news that Sourav has accused his own players, he's accused Harbhajan for, you know, indiscipline. He's against Yuvraj and like against Rahul and Sachin, and we made all this report. And next day before the game, you know, Harbhajan started off saying that, what is this Sourav, what are you saying in the press? And he just walked off the dressing room with his kit bag. And I said a few words and everybody came in, and Sourav he was so upset. He said, boys, you know, if I have said anything like this, I will resign just now. And his face became really red. And, you know, Rahul couldn't see him like that, and Rahul just started laughing, and then we started laughing. I think making Sourav Ganguly Bakra that day was one of the funniest moments of Indian cricket till now.
May have pitched outside. Oh, he's given. First ball duck for Alex Stewart. Indians on fire. We talked about Nasir Hussain being a big wicket. This is another huge one for India.
Greg Chappell disturbed the equilibrium of Indian cricket. Trust in the coach was no longer existent. The most turbulent period in Indian cricket started with the away series of Zimbabwe.
There was some suggestion, you've just come back from the press conference, there was some suggestion there that there was talk of maybe stepping down from the captaincy. Was there too much to that?
Not from my point of view, not from me personally.
Was it ever suggested to you then?
Yes, it was.
It couldn't be very easy then. I mean, you're going out there, there's someone suggesting that maybe you're not the right man. Was that the reason there was a lot of pressure on you? Or are we reading too much into it?
Well, I don't want to elaborate the issue, don't want to go into it much more, but probably it gave me the kick to fight on for 6 hours.
Sourav was dethroned from the captaincy after winning an abroad series in Zimbabwe, where he himself scored a century. The Chappell-Sourav saga began from this very series.
Yeah, the Sourav that I met in the middle of 2005 was a very different person and a very different batsman from the one that I'd seen in Sydney in 2003. It wasn't the same person. He didn't have the confidence, he didn't have the vision. His vision was very narrow and very short-termed.
That's completely his opinion. I would not agree to that. Every time a team loses, you get to hear all sorts of all these questions.
We had a couple of discussions that I thought were leading towards the right direction, but then very soon I saw that it wasn't going in that right direction.
He was also misguided by a lot of people, around who gave him wrong information, and he didn't go by first-hand experience. He probably dealt with a lot of information which was wrongly informed to him.
Nobody's 100% right, nobody's 100% wrong, and I don't claim to be 100% right. There are things that maybe we could have done differently, and I could have done differently.
Well, I think it was unfortunate whatever happened. Obviously, there were issues of captaincy, issues of who would run the team, and I was a bit surprised, honestly, with these issues.
Look, the Sourav Ganguly that burst onto the international stage was an exciting and talented player, and I think his batting perhaps has been overshadowed by his captaincy.
I don't know about that. I think he's achieved a lot as a captain, and I think he's achieved a lot as a batsman as well. So I think they're two different things, and I don't think you can put a mark or a number to it and say this has overshadowed that. I think he's he's done well in both forms of the game. He's captained his country, so I don't see why that should happen.
I think he was more happy to be the leader and to be the visionary.
Whatever said and done, in a cricket team, captain's always going to run the show because he actually does things on the park, and it's with any cricket team in the world. It's not just India and me, or it's not just me and Chappell, but it's the right way to go about with every good teams in the world, and you see that's the way it's gone on.
Chappell's philosophy was completely different from Ganguly's philosophy, where individual was not important, star system was not important, and Chappell even felt at some extent that Sachin Tendulkar was not important. I just published what Chappell said officially, but before that, privately he said so much that the entire media knew about it, the players knew about it. I mean, they did not hide their feelings for each other. And when I spoke to Ganguly, he already knew about it, number one. Number two is that, but despite my repeated persuasion, he refused to say anything, and he had a very logical point of view. He said that if this mail has already reached the board will ask for my explanation. And why should I give my explanation to the media? Chappell, if he has done it, is his problem. But as far as I'm concerned, the Indian captain will only speak to the Indian board.
Change of power in Indian cricket happened both on and off the ground. Sourav Ganguly was dropped.
Sourav obviously was dropped for not right reasons.
He went through some tough phases, very, very tough phases.
I never thought that such things exist in cricket, in sport. And those incidents was not only an eye-opener for me in sport, but an eye-opener for me in life.